This is Jared Fowler coming to you live from the great state of Texas for another edition of NHL 19. And did a little something different. I hope you enjoyed my previous videos with the Austin Ice Bats and the Central Texas Stampede. But today I'm going to move up an ECHL team as an expansion team and put them into the NHL, and that is the Allen Americans. And there you see the Allen Americans are going to be taking on the Vegas Golden Knights in their debut action here today. Of course, Doc and Eddie will be on commentary for this game. Give a shout out to Sick Drek the Gamer 97, owner of Nuisance Films, coming out with the Intelligent Wise Man coming up. And of course, one of my newest Twitter followers, Hockey Problems South on Twitter, Southern Hockey Problems. And I really enjoyed his tweets on some past minor league hockey. Of course, he is obviously based out of the state of Florida, just an hour outside of Pensacola. I am, of course, in Central Texas, former home of the now defunct Central Texas Stampede. Had a great run here for 5 years in the Western Professional Hockey League. Well, I'll tell you what, that right there was in the middle of the hockey boom of the late 90s.
And here is the third voice of our crew, the man in the coldest place.
And I'll tell you, going to those games for general admission for $8 a piece, it was something. It was great. Playing in a old rodeo arena, the Bell County Expo Center. It was a pretty good size arena. It's a rodeo arena, and concerts. And of course, the Bell County Youth Livestock Show and Rodeo also held at the Expo Center, but it's over 30 years old now. Opened in 1987 to Alan Jackson. And who would have thought that only 2 years after the Minnesota North Stars relocated to Dallas, actually Central Texas, the Stampede was based in 3 cities. Of course, it was in Belton, which is the county seat of Bell County, Temple, and Killeen as well. But who would have thought professional hockey would be in this area, much less at the Bell County Expo Center. And hockey was really starting to expand south, especially when the Stars moved into Dallas. I attended a Dallas Stars game back in 1994, their first season in Dallas. They played the Washington Capitals at the old Reunion Arena, and I'll tell you what, I was hooked from that start. I became a hockey fan right then and there. And the Americans get a good on the board first. So the Americans lead 1-0 over the Vegas Golden Knights. And it's good to get that historical first goal in franchise history. Let's see who that one's going to be. There's a backhand shot, and looks like it's going to be Alex Killorn, former Tampa Bay Lightning. But what really got me hooked on hockey is when I started watching the '92 Olympic Winter Games in Albertville. And I really got into watching ice hockey. It really was an interesting sport. I mean, it was really rough. And of course, Texas is known as the football state. I mean, you look at high school football, how big it is here in Texas, and they play, all the high school state championships are played at AT&T Stadium, home of the Dallas Cowboys. And this past season, in the state championship game at AT&T Stadium, it was between Galena Park North Shore and Duncanville. And North Shore won it on a Hail Mary touchdown, last-second Hail Mary touchdown to win the game. But there were 50,000 people at AT&T Stadium. The upper deck, the very top upper deck, was closed off.
A little under 4 minutes gone in this period.
But that should tell you just how big football is. And nobody thought Texas would really be a hockey state, especially when the Dallas Stars relocated from Minnesota in '94. But it really caught on. I mean, Reunion Arena was sold out just about every single night that the Stars came to town. And that was the hottest ticket in Dallas for that time. And who would have thought 2 years later, teams, a brand new hockey league, the Western Professional Hockey League, was born. 6 teams in Texas. And at the time, Texas had more pro hockey teams in the state of Texas than any other state in the country.
not just about getting your first goal of the season,
especially in a small towns like Temple, Belton, and Killeen, really known for its distribution. And this capital city of Austin also had a team called the Austin Ice Bats, as I recreated them here on this game. Hope you enjoyed watching those videos. That was an arch rival of the Stampede, and I'll tell you what, those games were great. I mean, especially the first year, watching the Ice Bats and the Stampede at the Expo Center, it was packed just about every night. And there were only 6 teams in the WPHL at the time, and most of those games were against the Ice Bats. And during the game is like all the Stampede fans and all the Ice Bats fans would mingle. They would joke around. Of course, they trash talk, but it's all in good fun. It's good family entertainment. And it's mostly with guys that basically had no shot or past their prime and that once played in the NHL. Players like Jacques Mayotte, the mailman, who still resides in Killeen, Texas to this day, 23 years after the league folded. He was the enforcer. He was the most popular man on this team, and he really loved playing in this area so much that he decided to just live here, move down here permanently. Great guy, man to talk with, great guy to joke around with, but he does not play around when it comes to the fisticuffs. Has a lot of videos on YouTube, especially when he was in the Quebec Nordiques organization in the minors, coming up to the minors. He really threw some punches out there. And that first season, he was suspended for, I believe, 30 games. If you'll look on one of his fights, a game against the Stampede against another Original 6 team, the New Mexico Scorpions. That game was in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and a fight spilled outside of the Zamboni gate. And it started out between Mayotte and a Scorpions player, spilled outside of the Zamboni gate, and there were some fans sitting down by the glass that actually tried to pull Mayotte off of him, which is a big mistake because Mayotte is a really big guy. And he went after those spectators, and that got him a very long suspension. But he was well known around the league, pretty much well known around the country as the big enforcer. But off the ice, he's an all-around great guy. So really fun to get to know the players of the Stampede, and got to know some Ice Bats fans and some Waco Wizards fans. And Waco has been known for minor league baseball, as they're about to get a new minor league baseball team starting up this season. But who would have thought they would ever be ice hockey in the city of Waco? Back in the 50s, Waco was known for its minor league baseball team, teams with the Major League Baseball affiliations with the Cubs and the Pittsburgh Pirates. And then when they tore down the stadium after the big tornado, the park was leveled, and the big tornado in the 50s in Waco was rebuilt. But then after the team left town, it was never used again. So they tore it down again. And now it's part of that area is part of historic downtown Waco. But they decided to give Waco a shot at what is now known as the Extraco Event Center. Back then it was known as the Heart of Texas Coliseum. Built back in I believe the 40s, Rodeo Arena in Waco, side of the Heart of Texas Fair and Rodeo. And it was also home to the Waco Wizards for 3.5 seasons before the Wizards folded in the middle of the 99 season. Also a big I-35 corridor rivalry between the Central Texas Stampede, the Waco Wizards, and the Austin Ice Bats. And Waco never really did well. Even though the team the first 2 years were absolutely horrible. And the fans, they really didn't draw many fans. They did have the good diehard fans, but from what I've only been to one game in the Heart of Texas Coliseum when the Stampede played there, and it felt like a Stampede home game. There were hardly any Waco fans there. But there was quite a few Waco fans that came down to the Expo Center when the Stampede played against the Wizards in Belton. And it was good to mingle around with them as well. But the fans one of their fans have once told me that it's like there was nobody at those games from the beginning. They weren't doing well. The team wasn't playing well. They once had a 16-game losing streak, 16 in a row, and they were finished at the bottom of the WPHL in the first 2 seasons. And nobody thought that the team would come back for a second year, but they did. And they didn't do very well then either. And then they changed ownerships twice during the first 2 seasons. But then the third year, they thought the Wizards were all but dead. But a new ownership group stepped in, bought the team, kept the team alive, and brought in Coach Todd Lalonde and a great group of players that will make up the Waco Wizards. And that was their greatest season ever. They won the Central Division in the third year of existence. That is the Waco Wizards. And that is where, as a Stampede fan, I went to watch the Stampede and the Wizards play in Waco. And me and my brother-in-law went. And like I said before, even though the team was doing well, they still had no support. It was a good 3,000 fans at the game, but about a good 2/3 of those fans were Stampede fans that would make the short trek from Belton to Waco, about 35-minute drive. And we thought it was all going to be for nothing, as you know, Waco in the second period led 6-0. And I was kind of asking my brother-in-law, you know, whenever you want to leave, we can. So he said, well, you know, my brother-in-law has faith. He has faith in his teams. He wanted to stay to the end. So I figured I'd stay with them. Well, finally the Stampede got on the board with 2 goals to end the second period, and then that's when the comeback ensued. They Stampede pulled their goaltender, put in Jason Carey, who was the #1 goaltender in the league at the time, and he led the team on a furious comeback. I mean, they fell behind 7-2, or 7-2 at the time. Then next thing you know, it's 7-5, and we're halfway through the period. It's 7-5. We're thinking, we might be onto something here. We could see the greatest comeback ever. And Waco was up 7-5. We're thinking, and then maybe it's not meant to be. But then in the last, coming up with like maybe 5 minutes left of the game, it's 8-5 with Waco. Stampede scored 2 quick goals. It's 8-6. Minute and a half left. They scored again. It's 8-7. And then the unthinkable happened. With just maybe 10 seconds remaining in the game, the Stampede tied that game, 8-8, with 10 seconds remaining. And unbelievably, the Stampede won it in a shootout. And it was a big celebration, even though it was on the opposing. We're the visiting team. It felt like a big celebration. It felt like a home game. There were a lot of Stampede fans there. And then the Waco fans that were there, they were crushed. They could not believe something like that happened. I think that just pretty much the beginning of the end for the Waco Wizards as a franchise. They did make the playoffs, but were eliminated by the San Angelo Outlaws in the second round. So they thought the Wizards were done again, but again, they got another owner change, and they decided to bring most of those players back. But unfortunately, most of the players that were made up of that team, including Coach Todd Lalonde, went down south to Belton to join the Central Texas Stampede. And a lot of Waco fans were really upset about that. And Lalonde took half the players from the Wizards with him. Ron Newhook, Chad Michaelchuk. A lot of those guys. David Oliver, Dave Murphy. I mean, and of course, the Stampede had Jason Carey returning. But then Matt Barnes came back, and the Stampede would have their best season ever, with 2/3 of the old Waco team. But sadly, the Wizards folded halfway through the 99-2000 season. And the good thing is the Stampede picked up a lot of their Wizards fans, so a lot of Wizards fans became Stampede fans because they wanted to see some of their old team members from their old team play for the Stampede. Well, then you had the El Paso Buzzards. And they have a more on their owner in just a minute, their former owner now, as he had a little controversy. The El Paso Buzzards won the President's Cup. That is the championship trophy for the Western Professional Hockey League. Won it the first 2 seasons of existence. First season, they beat the Central Texas Stampede in 5 games. And the second season, they beat the Fort Worth Brahmas, an expansion team. So the El Paso Buzzards, 2 consecutive President's Cup championships, but their owner, Bill Davidson, at the time, were a little bit of trouble as his finances weren't. And it looks like the Golden Knights have just tied the game, but wait a minute, it looks like we got and the referee has waved off the goal. Is it going to be a high stick, or it could be under review? We'll take a look here, but while they're reviewing this, the El Paso Buzzards owner, Bill Davidson, he stole some of the team's equipment because he wasn't able to go to make payroll. to pay the players. And he swiped some of the team's equipment and sold it off just so he could make it. Here's the call on the ice. Will it stand? And yes, it will. The Golden Knights have tied the game. And William Karlsson has a first goal of the season at 5:23. But about Buzzards owner Bill Davidson, quick timeout here. About Buzzards owner Bill Davidson, he would later become one of the co-founders of the USA CHL. More on that league later. As if you watched some of my previous videos, you found a big story about the USA CHL, which is no longer in operations. Only lasted a month and a half. But Bill Davidson sold the team, and I think the Buzzards went downhill after that. They only lasted maybe I believe 5 more seasons in the WPHL/CHL, and the team folded. And to this day, they have hockey in El Paso. It's a NA3HL Tier 3 Junior Hockey League with the El Paso Rhinos, done really well. So they still have hockey in El Paso. Also another Original Six member, the New Mexico Scorpions. As the aforementioned Scorpions, they lasted a pretty good while. They won the regular season championship in the WPHL its first season, but they were the odds-on favorites with goaltender Tony Martino to win the President's Cup, but were upset by the 4th-seeded Central Texas Stampede in the first round of the President's Cup playoffs in the first season.
Nicely received at the point. Wonderful save. And holds on to that puck to get the whistle.
Goalies have to make a half a dozen great stops.
So pretty good information there about the old WPHL.
Over 9 minutes played here in the second.
A little bit more about the WPHL. The league expanded. They doubled in teams from 6 to 12 the next season. And I think they got too big too fast, because the following season they got up to 18 teams, and that's when teams started dropping. I mean, they had the Monroe Moccasins out of Louisiana, the Shreveport Mudbugs, who would later become the Bossier Shreveport Mudbugs. They would win 3 consecutive President's Cup championships before folding in 2011. So the Mudbugs lasted a long year. Mudbugs now have a NA North American Hockey League team, junior hockey, and try to tie the game here. They had the Lake Charles Ice Pirates, another team out of Lake Charles, Louisiana, and they didn't survive the 4 years. I believe they were in operation 4 years, as the Vegas Golden Knights have just taken the lead. Lake Charles and Monroe did not last. When the WPHL ceased operations and merged with the Central Hockey League, they did not survive. You had the Arkansas Glacier Cats, only lasted 2 seasons. They had some competition from the ECHL, the Arkansas River Blades. But hockey didn't last long in Arkansas as well. Then you had the Alexandria Warthawks out of Alexandria, Louisiana. Also didn't last very long, only lasted 3 seasons.
By just a single goal. So
then you have the Tupelo T-Rex, and they lasted 4 seasons, and they were the worst team in the WPHL, but they also didn't play in the CHL as well. The T-Rex were rebooted as a North American Hockey League North American Hockey League franchise, and they didn't last long as well. The junior team in Tupelo only won 2 games in their only 2 seasons of existence. And you got the Corpus Christi Ice Rays, also a former member of the WPHL, and they're still going strong. And they are now with the North American Hockey League. They've been alive for 20 seasons. So junior hockey is big in Corpus Christi. You had the Laredo Bucks, 2-time President's Cup champions, and tried to reboot as a member of the USA CHL. They only played 1 home game, but the league didn't last long. Then you had a team in Hidalgo called the Rio Grande Valley Killer Bees. Killer Bees also tried to, after they didn't last, maybe 6 years, I believe, 7 years, I believe, and then they folded. They left to become the St. Charles Chill, and they were folded 1 year later. Killer Bees would try to come back as a North American Hockey League franchise. Only lasted 3 seasons, and fans just weren't interested anymore. And then they tried once again. They were thinking third time's a charm with the USA CHL, and again they did not last long. Only a month and a half.
And he steps across the line. Shoots one. Great save. Pass comes to him from the crease. The Americans skated up on the side. Picked up in the attacking zone. A howitzer.
There we go. Looks like Jeff Kungel, former Austin Ice Bat, has tied the game for the Americans. Hockey in Amarillo. That's still going strong. Another former original 6 member of the WPHL, the Amarillo Rattlers. As hockey problem in the South, Southern Hockey Problems mentioned, old Amarillo Rattlers jerseys. They're still for sale on eBay. And they lasted for about, I believe, almost 10 seasons. Halfway they did not fold, but they changed ownership and they rebranded the Gorillas. And they folded in, I believe, 2010. And they're still going strong as the Amarillo Bulls in the North American Hockey League won the Robertson Cup Championship just, I believe, 3 years ago.
Snapping a pass to Cole. Hangs on to it in the corner.
Got a tie game here in Allen. Don't want to get the Knights too much advantage here. 2 minutes left.
Sparky's puck to play, so he does. Trying to go to Killorn. Allen setting up an offense from the wing. Lets it go. Deflected,
trying to take the lead here.
Good intercept in his own end.
One thing about the USA CHL, they really had empty promises. I mean, they had a team in Wichita Falls called the Force, and who were locked out of their own arena for non-payment of the rent. They owed a lot of payments in rent, and were not able to pay it, so they folded, and the league folded as well. But funny thing, I mean, they're saying the league is going to come back next year. I just don't know how that's going to happen. I think it was just rushed. They They tried too fast to put the league together, put the Texas Lawmen in the 11th hour, and they only play with 4 teams. But pretty good information there about hockey in Texas, and you'll see more about it over on Twitter. As Southern Hockey Problems post some pretty good pictures there, some memorabilia back to the old Memphis River Kings of the Central Hockey League and the Southern Professional Hockey League, Louisiana Ice Gators. Had some really good success early, and they've since folded. And we got the Golden Knights and the Americans tied at 2 at the end of 2. Hope you're enjoying this game so far, folks. A beautiful Friday afternoon here in the state of Texas. I'm going to try to make at least maybe 1 or 2 more regular season games for the Texas Stars as their regular season is winding down. The Stars are currently kind of on the outside looking in, kind of like they were last season, but they really put it together down the stretch and put together a great run and made it all the way to the Calder Cup Finals and taking the #1 seed Toronto Marlies the distance, and nobody has done that. I mean, the Marlies basically swept their way through the playoffs in the Eastern Conference last season in a clean sweep. Stars really fought to get their 9 overtime games to get to the finals, and they were able to take the top team to the league the distance. Marlies did win it in 7, 6-1 over the Texas Stars. And I think that is why I really love hockey. I love hockey. It's the best sport in the world, especially around playoff time. And then if you've ever been to a playoff hockey game, I really encourage you to get out there and it's any level of playoff hockey, junior hockey, minor league, or NHL. I mean, quest for the cup is just great. I mean, even watching the games on TV. Watching the games on TV, especially the Stanley Cup playoffs, that'll keep you on the edge of your seat. But you know, I know y'all probably heard about this before in the Southern Professional Hockey League. They have a challenge round where they pick their opponents. The top seeds will get to pick their opponents and basically pick your poison. But stranger things have happened in the world of hockey. I mean, especially in the NHL, where the number 8 seed, the team that just barely gets into the playoffs, have went on to win the cup. It's happened at least twice, where they've advanced to the finals. But I think the last number 8 seed to win the cup was the LA Kings.
Side to side they go, trying to generate something. Free puck thanks to the roadblock.
So I guess on any given Sunday, anybody can beat anybody, especially in the world of hockey.
It's dumped in. And he picks it up. Nice play with the stick. Nothing more will come.
Got a 2-2 game here. Americans, I don't know what happened there. Americans against the Vegas Golden Knights. Pretty good game here. Looks like we've got a broken stick on the ice.
Looks ahead to start something.
Look out.
Oh, what a steal.
Gotta watch out, Carlson. He'll get me.
Moves to the corner. Skates along the line. Shoots.
You know, one thing I wish that the NHL, EA Sports would let us do, and they've done this in the past, is let us download our own music. And we were used to, back a long time ago, I can't remember which year it is. I want to say maybe 2007, 2006. One of those years we were able to, look out, we were able to download our own music and make our own goal songs. You can currently do that in MLB The Show. Download your own music. I really wish we could do it here, because I would love for the Allen Americans' real goal horn, along with Don't Stop Living in the Red. That is their goal song. Already have their goal horn. They use the Boston Bruins goal horn. And we just took the lead right there. Brett Sagan, former Austin Ice Bat. There's Biscuit, mascot of the Allen Americans.
I got a feeling that puck's going to be in his trophy case awfully soon.
There's been a number of close chances here at either end as this continued tie game strung out.
Just got it by Marc-Andre Fleury.
And so he's helped his team. He wants
I got the lead now. See if I can hold it.
Get that second goal. Very first game. This is impressive that he could do that. Neutralized face-off win. Looking to Miller. Into the end of attack. Stole that pass away in his own end. That move not too slick there. Breakaway. Stands his ground on the breakaway. From the outside. Wonderful stop. On to Lindbergh. Pitching it to Miller. And they are in.
Oh, it's 9 minutes left.
By Martinez.
See if I can try to put it out of reach here.
It's almost
try a
like
slap
these
shot.
teams are mirror images of each other. There's no room
Yeah,
on
Fleury's
the
hard
ice.
to beat.
Nobody has been able to spread out the play and generate a whole ton of scoring chances.
He's got it. To Kunitz.
Another 2-on-1.
Steps in from the neutral zone. Shoots.
Nope.
You can almost count that one, but no.
Overshot that one. That was a wide open net. I could have put it away right there.
Trying for the neutral ice.
But that had only been a 2-goal lead,
And he
which in
gains
my
the
opinion is the
zone.
most dangerous lead in hockey.
Lets it go. Got a piece of that one. Moving it to Komarov.
Let's give my guys a break here.
Good work in clearing it out. And with folded arms, the linesman signaled ice.
Allen's got an opportunity over the next stretch of games to really come together as a team, execute their game plan, and get some wins. It's not going to be easy. It never is in this league. The best players
3-2
and
lead,
teams find a
6:10
way to
left.
win, Doc.
Okay, they win the draw. Fires. Great
Look out.
glove save.
There we go. Good job getting that rebound.
The dump in clears the defense. Has that pass off the boards.
Look out.
Well done with that pass. Smart recovery by McGinn. That puck was obstructed by a screen. Gets it back. Solid
Good hit.
rebound. No out of bounds in this sport.
Love the physical play. He takes his man right into the boards with
Oh, I thought that was going in.
Sticked away. Pass down to
We got a pretty much an all-star team here,
right off the boards.
but mostly against guys I created, especially goaltender Christian Susi, former Austin Ice Bat.
Vegas carrying it up the wing. Flings it
And for all you
right
hockey
close
lovers
save.
out there, I'm pretty sure you've heard of this book I'm about to tell you about. The Zamboni Rodeo
We go down to the benches.
by
Here's
Jason
Ray.
Cohen.
Koulis quickly releases the puck
He
from
went
the
on
point when the puck
the
goes
road
back in.
with
He gets it to
the Austin
front
Ice
of the net
Bats.
as many times as possible.
And the second team in
That's
existence.
terrific,
Really,
Ray,
really
and
good
so
read.
is he. We'll see how it goes for him here
And it
tonight.
showed what the Bats had to endure on the road, especially on those long road trips, especially to Lake Charles and Alexandria. The Warthogs weren't in existence back then. It's actually Monroe.
Just under 3 minutes to go in the period. Once we
And it had a pretty
were
big
tied.
rivalry, not
Maybe
just the
we'll be
Stampede,
tied
but
again.
the Shreveport Mudbugs as well.
That's an enormous offensive face-off.
And an interesting side note, as Cohen wrote in the book, the big rivalry
Propelled
with the
to
Mudbugs,
McNabb.
and later on in the
This can
epilogue,
break up a play, and it just did.
some of the
Americans
former
are
San
moving
Antonio
up to the
Iguanas in the
neutral zone.
CHL,
Lofted that one back in.
after the
Americans realize they have to get this puck in
after
deep.
the San Antonio Rampage was born out of the AHL.
Takes it right back.
That was the biggest
Puck is thrown
rival
to
for the
Theodore.
Austin Ice Bats, were the San Antonio Iguanas,
Nearing
and
the
a lot
final
of
minute
those
of
Iguanas
regulation.
players went on to play for the Mudbugs in the CHL after the team folded.
Terrific dive and block.
Koulis makes a great play
So
to
a lot
block
of San
that
Antonio
shot down.
fans
It's
going
gonna
out to
leave a
see
mark. It's gonna be
their
so
former players
hard.
play for the
But that's
Mudbugs.
the price you're paying.
And that's about the same as the former Houston Arrows fans, still going out to Cedar Park whenever the Iowa Wild come to town, because that's some of their old teammates of the old Houston Arrows.
There
And
he goes.
Daniel
Net
Soter is
empty.
really
Let's take a chance
leading
here
up,
to save.
trying to,
Loose puck, it went off one of the guys.
and he's in charge of NHL to Houston. For Houston to get a hockey team, they want Rockets owner Tillman Fertitta to get a team, and last I heard, he is working on it. But as I tweeted earlier a couple days ago, no, to quote the Chicago Cubs, it's going to happen. So you just got to be patient, Houston. I think pretty soon we're going to see a hockey rivalry between the Stars and whoever, whether it be the Arrows or the Phoenix or the Arizona Coyotes, who become the Houston Coyotes. We're going to see a Lone Star hockey rivalry real soon. So just got to be patient, guys. I know it's hard to do. And the Allen Americans win their first game in the NHL, 3-2 over the Vegas Golden Knights. So really good game here today. Really hope you enjoyed it. Hope you enjoyed my commentary. Going to show you the 3 stars of the game. So good game between these two teams. The Knights had the lead 2-1.
It is a long season ahead, but a season designed to entertain hockey fans.
But the Americans scored 2 unanswered goals in the third period.
And Ray Ferraro. Mike Emmerich saying good evening.
And they win it over the Golden Knights 3-2. You see the game-winning goal. That was by Brett Sagan. Final score, Allen Americans 3, Vegas Golden Knights 2. And we'll show you the 3 stars of the Knights game, and there you see all 3 from the Allen Americans. Alex Killorn, former Tampa Bay Lightning, 1 goal. And Kelly Smart, the biggest acquisition for the Americans, 2 assists. Looking to become a franchise player, he is the captain. And first star of the game-winning goal, Jeff Kungle, 1 goal and 1 assist. All right, that's going to do it from here, folks. I really hope you enjoyed this broadcast of NHL 19, the debut of the Allen Americans in the NHL. Hope you enjoyed my commentary. If you just shoot me a comment off to the side there, or in YouTube comment section, or you can follow me on Twitter at jcfowler Sports Gaming TV at twitter.com. Again, this is Jared Fowler saying so long from the great state of Texas. Have a good weekend, everybody.